Just call him Ron Paul, the rock star. Something about the 76-year-old Republican hopeful has triggered a popularity surge among young voters.
I have frequently been asked, why do I think the young people seem to be attracted to our campaign? And I said, well, why not? They believe in liberty too, you know. So it is a delight that there's a tremendous attraction for the views that I hold, and we shouldn't be surprised at all.
So why is he attracting young voters? Joining us now are three young Ron Paul supporters. Pericles Niarchos is 25-year-old and a student at Drexel University. Megan Roberts is 22 years old and recent college graduate. And Tanner Whittam is 19 years old and a student at Southern Methodist University. Nice to see all three of you this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
We've got the Brady Bunch boxes up here, and perhaps that's somewhat appropriate this morning. Pericles, let me start with you. What is it about Ron Paul that has you excited to get out and support the man?
Well, I think probably it boils down to more so the ideas and the cause that he represents than actually the individual of Ron Paul. You know, it's a little bit different than the youth craze for Barack Obama in the 2008 election. A lot of young people are, you know, they're romantic, they're looking for a cause, they're idealistic, and when you talk about peace and prosperity and individual freedom, I think that's going to draw a lot of attention.
Megan, does Pericles have a point here? It's not the man so much as it's the message of civil liberties and the liberty message. And he even had a moment during the debate the other night where he was sort of self-effacing, and he said, look, if I just spoke a little bit slower, maybe I would communicate that message better.
Absolutely. I think Ron Paul's philosophy, his message of limited government, abiding by the United States Constitution, reining in federal spending, I think these are all very popular ideas among young voters, and I think that it's really important. I think the other Republicans in the field should pick up on his ideas.
Tanner, do you see a lot of difference between Ron Paul and the other candidates?
Oh, absolutely. I think there's many differences between them, and you know, Ron Paul's the only one that I truly believe has the right plan for the economy. He's the only one who's proposing budget cuts, and he's the only one who wants to protect our civil liberties. And I think that's important, and I see a lot of differences, and I see it's also a trust and honesty between Ron Paul. Ron Paul is very honest and a trustworthy man, and I see that more than any other candidate on the field right now.
Pericles, why isn't he resonating perhaps more with Republican voters if all of these things are true? Is it foreign policy which has held him back? Many critics say turning an isolationist eye to countries like Iran and others is a non-starter for many GOP supporters. What do you say?
I think foreign policy is probably a large issue. A lot of older Republicans have a perpetual fear about international calamity and disaster. And a friend of mine put it really well. She said, if you want to understand the difference between non-interventionism and isolationism, just look at the difference between Sweden and North Korea. So I think a lot of older Republicans need to start looking at that. I mean, if I were Iran and I had U.S. carrier groups off the coast, I had U.S. military on my borders, you know, I think I'd want to look for a nuclear weapon. Imagine if China had carriers in the Gulf of Mexico.
Megan, we'll get you to respond to that same point. Foreign policy, is that one of the reasons maybe he's not resonating with Republican voters as much as some of the other candidates?
Yes, I do believe that is one of his main differences, and probably one of the points of difference with most Republican voters. Yeah.
All right, Tanner, Megan, and Pericles, it's great to see young voters who are so engaged in the process, and thank you for waking up early with us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.